Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about your team and specifically about your right-hand person. And before we dive into right-hand, one of the things that I think can so make or break our experience as entrepreneurs are the people that we surround ourselves with. Right? We choose who we work with, whether it be our clients, whether it be our team members, right? And we're spending so much of our time and so much of our mental energy. And it's not just the time, the actual calendar time that we're spending with people, but it's the mental energy and the focus that we're giving. And as you know, some people can be really draining. Some people can be really fueling, right? You meet with them and all of a sudden you have more energy and more ideas and you feel like anything is possible. And other people you meet with can kind of suck the life out of you a little bit. And even if they're a really great person, sometimes after you meet them, you walk out just feeling kind of defeated and kind of drained, right? And this is where over time, I think we get more and more discerning with who we want to spend our time with when it comes to clients. I know for me personally, when I'm working with a private client, either as their right-hand person or just as their strategic advisor, I work so closely with them. It's almost like I'm part of their business, and I treat their business and think of their business almost as if I'm a partner in the business so that I'm giving them the right guidance and the right advice that's going to be taking them towards their vision that they have for their business. And so it's like a really important relationship when you work that closely with somebody, because I only want to work with and spend my time with people who I fully believe in, who I really want to partner with, who do fuel me and don't drain me all the time, right? Everyone has moments, but overall, I think we just need to be so intentional with who we surround ourselves with. And if you've ever had a rough patch in your business, there can be a lot of reasons for it. But sometimes what I find is it's frustrations with team or frustrations with clients. It's the people that you're spending the most time with that all of a sudden are creating an environment where you do not really feel in a lot of alignment. And you, as a result, don't end up feeling really excited about your business. And so the reason why I wanted to start there and mention that is, as the founder of a business, one of the most important relationships you are ever going to form in that business, assuming you own that business yourself, is the person you hire as your right hand. And when I say right hand can mean different things at different stages of your business journey. Early on, a lot of people hire a VA or even an EA and tend to think of them as their right hand. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about a right hand, I'm talking about that go-to person who is the one who's really making sure that that beautiful, big, bold vision that you have is being brought to life. They sometimes, depending on the season and scale of your business, they may be at a pure strategy level. They might be like your right-hand strategic thinking partner, the person who's helping you take that vision and figure out, all right, great, how are we going to do this? How are we going to hit those revenue targets? Who do we need on the team? What kind of systems do we need? How do we need to be approaching it, right? That's the kind of work I tend to do with my clients. So if you're at that 7+ figure mark, sometimes even high multi-6 figures, depending on the trajectory of your business, you might want a person in that role as your right hand. They're very much almost like that key partner who makes real all of the ideas that you have. And it's that type of partnership that does allow you to get out of the day-to-day and to elevate yourself to more thought leadership work, to more legacy work. That's where you can do things like more speaking. You could write your books. You could do a lot of that sort of stuff that I call more putting yourself in more of an influence space. And the other person, your right-hand person, is kind of making everything happen and running things in the business. They're frequently not rolling up their sleeves and tactically doing things, but they are making sure that all the things are being done and they holistically understand what's happening in your business. So when someone is sitting in that seat, like I don't call myself a COO, I call myself a CSOO, a strategy and operating officer. And that's intentional because I do much more than just operations. Sometimes what you might have is more of a triangle model where you have yourself, you have more of a CMO and more of a COO, usually on a fractional basis. But if you just have one right-hand person, just one as opposed to the triangle, what you really want is what I call a fractional CSOO, a chief strategy and operating officer. You need that person who understands all of the facets of the business, the back end, the front end, the growth, the operations. You need that person who understands it all and who can orchestrate it all, bringing the right people, the right tools, the right technology, the right resources together to actually make it all happen. They're just frequently not the one doing it at that level. Now, you also, if you're not quite there yet, maybe you're more at a low to high multi-six-figure range. Then a lot of times your right-hand person is what I would call an EPM, an entrepreneurial project manager. That's who I train and mentor and certify. But I know a lot of other people would call them a business manager, or they would hire an online business manager or someone at that level. And at that level, your right-hand person is a blend of strategy and execution. They are both helping you see what needs to get done, but they are also frequently the ones that are doing, or at least really closely managing the doers. They are much closer to the action and to things that are getting done in the business. They frequently are the person who is actually out there and making sure that your launch happens, not from a strategy perspective, but purely from a, okay, do we have the funnel in place? Is this email going out at the right time? What is the sequence that's going to be set up and set? What are the tags that are going to be in place, right? They're usually at that level. Yes, they understand strategy and they can be a strategic thinking partner for specific things. But for the most part, they're kind of in the details of making sure that all of the different things are getting done. And I find when you have someone at that level, it's a huge relief on you, especially if you previously only had a VA or someone who is more doing administrative things for you. It can be such a huge lift to all of a sudden have this person next to you who understands things. So you're not the only person who has to kind of figure everything out and who can make things happen. It's a really great lift in the business if you're kind of moving from that one level where you have more of a administrator to someone who can actually be more of a manager and someone who can actually get things done. And that's a great step up. It is a totally different level of freedom when you can get to the point that you can bring in a CSOO. And that is ultimately what I wish for all of you listening. If you are already there, you know what I'm talking about. If you are not there yet, as soon as you get there, you all of a sudden will say, how did I ever survive without this in my life? Totally different level when you've got that right-hand person. But all of this to say, whether you've got that person who's a little bit closer to the execution, or whether you've got that person who's a little bit closer to you in the strategy, or based on the size and scale of your business, maybe you have somebody who spans and kind of does both. Whichever makeup you have, that is the person in your business that you are going to rely on the heaviest. And that is the person in your business you are probably going to spend the most time with. That is also the person in your business that you are probably most likely to have different ways of thinking, different ways of making decisions, different ways of communicating, different ways of processing information in different vantage points. And so it can be the most frustrating relationship that you have in your business, as well as the most rewarding relationship that you have in your business. Now, some founders tend to be purely in the visionary space. They are very, very high visionaries. Other founders are more in the operator space. But that being said, there is a big difference between someone who decides to start and lead their own business than someone who decides to help someone else bring their vision to life. And then there's this lovely gray area for people like me who do both, right? I have my own vision that I am out there building, yet I am also helping other people bring their vision to life. So there's multiple categories, but that being said, when you are wearing the visionary hat, like the way I show up in my own business is different than the way I show up in my clients' businesses. In my own business, I have my own right-hand person, whereas I am the right-hand person for my clients in a lot of their businesses. So sometimes we're wearing different hats. We're kind of playing different roles depending on where we're at. But when we've got that founder hat on in our own business, we are responsible for the vision. Does not matter if we tend to be more operator focused or if we're pure visionary. Either way, our responsibility is the same. We are the one who has to hold that vision for the business. We're the one who has to see what's possible. We're the one who has to make the big strategic decisions. And we're frequently the one who's trying to make the impossible happen. The decision to not have some kind of corporate job and to instead go out on your own, chase some kind of dream, build something that's usually based on some deep passion that you have for something, from either wanting to help someone or wanting to transform an industry or wanting to take this incredible skill that you have and being able to help other people with it. Right? That desire is a really special kind of person, and not everybody is built or wired that way. And for those who are, we tend to live in possibility space. Doesn't mean that we don't have doubts, doesn't mean that we sometimes don't feel like, I wonder if this can really happen, but we tend to live in a space of vision and possibility. Well, if you think about your right hand's role, your right hand's role is a place of practicality and making things happen. They are looking at all the constraints. That thing that you just said, I want to do this, it's going to be amazing. What's going through their head is, does she realize what this is really going to take? Does she realize how long this is really going to take? Does she realize what it's going to take to actually be able to maintain this and sustain this once we implement it? Does she know how many hours and how much this is going to cost, right? Your right-hand person is doing exactly what they should be doing, which for you sometimes can feel incredibly frustrating when you've got this big thing you're so excited about, and they seem like they're all of a sudden putting a huge damper on it, being like, yeah, no, that's not possible. You want that next quarter? Sorry, that's got to be next year. And it's because their job is the job to figure out, either strategically, tactically, or both, how to make that thing happen. And if they're really good at their job, and if they're systems thinkers, which I hope they are, you never want a right-hand person who is not a natural systems thinker. And I don't mean systems like SOPs. I mean systems like they can see the interrelationships and how all the different pieces of your business fit together. So if they are that natural systems thinker and you're bringing in a new idea or there's some change that you want to make, what they should be doing in their head and what they're probably processing as you're speaking is, okay, this is going to throw this timeline off by this much. This is going to make this person super unhappy and they might quit. This is going to make this client unhappy and this might happen. This is going to be really awesome over here. I think if we do that, this is going to go way better. We need to shift this timeline over here. Like their brain is probably firing in a million different directions because they're connecting together the impact of the thing that you just said you wanted with the real world implications of what that means for your business, for your team, for your financials, for your clients, right? If you've got a good right-hand person, they're the one that's thinking all that through. The challenge is it can feel really frustrating between the two because the right hand is like, here she comes again, or here he comes again with this crazy idea and he has no idea what he's really asking for. And this is going to throw everything off. And as the founder, as the person with the visionary hat on, you're like, why can my team not just take the things that I have and make it happen? Why do they not see how brilliant of an idea this is and how this is going to transform things? I wish they'd just get on board and make it happen, right? And so it's this difference of perspective. And that's honestly what you want. It's this healthy tension, what one of my old mentors used to call challenge partnership. And you want that person who's going to challenge you. You do not want a yes person in your right-hand role, as much as sometimes it's nice to have somebody be like, the best idea ever. Yes, I will go make that happen, right? You really want somebody who is looking at what is the impact of this thing so that they can help you make the right decisions and the right trade-offs. We want it all, and we want it all the time, right now, yesterday. And the reality is that's not going to be the way that it's going to work. And so if you're introducing something new, you're going to have to make decisions about something that you previously committed to or something that's already in flight, right? And your right hand should be able to help you make those decisions so you understand the implications and the trade-offs. And they will absolutely make your vision and your dream a reality, but they're going to help get you there in a way that hopefully is really simple, really streamlined, and ultimately really sustainable. I know that is my mission and what I do when I work with my clients. And you want the same in whoever you choose to be your right-hand person, regardless of which level they are at. That is the type of person that you want. Now, what you need to do though to make that successful, and here's a couple tips. I do a training on finding the right-hand person. It's a few hours workshop and we go really deep into this. And one of the things that we talk about a lot in that session, because inevitably as soon as I bring this up, there are a bunch of questions. And so I have like a big block of space cleared for when I mention this so that we could kind of talk through some of the situations. But it's really learning how to work with your right hand. So first of all, you need to hire somebody who is the right fit for you. Choosing the right-hand person is kind of like choosing the right partner in life, right? There's a lot of people out there who they have amazing qualities, but you don't want to date all of them. You don't want to marry all of them. It's kind of the same when you're finding the right-hand person. Sometimes somebody's okay for now and you're like, you know what, for the next year or two, this person is going to, be the right person, but they're not the forever person. They're not the I do person. And other times you just meet that person and you're like, all right, that is my person. That is absolutely my person. They are the one who is going to help me take my business where I need to go and who's going to help take me where I need to go. Your right-hand person should make you the best version of you. They should not make you like an angry, frustrated version of yourself. Now, again, doesn't mean that there's not going to be moments that happens when you've got what you think is the best idea ever, and they're kind of helping bring you to reality to realize that maybe it isn't the best idea right now, right? You're going to be angry and frustrated. It's just kind of the way that it goes. That is not a time when you are going to have all hearts and love eyes for your right-hand person. But that being said, right, it's overall from a macro perspective, you should have a lot of respect for the person next to you. You should know and have this deep sense of they've got me. They've got me. They've got my vision, and any feedback they're giving me is with my best interest and with my vision in mind. That should be how you feel in everything that they say and everything that they deliver, even when it's not what you want to hear. And when you do bring in that idea that is the best idea in the world, they should be as excited about it as you are. And they should be looking at, amazing, we're making this happen. And I'm going to clear this out of the way and this out of the way and this out of the way to make it happen, right? It can't be all roadblocks all the time. Yes, their job is to practically help you see what's possible and how to make it happen. But at the same time, they can't always be in a place of that's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. They have to also be possibility seers along with you. They're just that person who bridges possibility and practicality, right? That is what a really solid right-hand person does for you, is they act as that bridge between possibility and practicality. They make happen what you see as possible. And it's not just make it happen as in go do a bunch of tasks. They make it happen as in they can move around and orchestrate whatever's needed in the business to make it happen, whether it's hiring new people, whether it's up-leveling people that you currently have, whether it's reimagining your systems and your infrastructure in your tooling, whether it's figuring out how the heck to integrate AI into the business, whatever it is that needs to shift in order for that to be possible, they are the ones who can kind of move mountains and make it happen. But going back to kind of how do you work with your right hand and how as a right hand do you work with a founder is you do need to figure out and put in place some agreements for how you're going to work together. And I could talk about this for days and days and days. So I'm just going to give you a couple tips that are ones that probably make the biggest difference. The very first one is you need to set the tone for the conversation. And here's what I mean by this. Understand how your right-hand person thinks, and they should understand how you think. And if you know going in what is going through the other person's brain, then you can set the tone for the type of conversation that you want. If you have a new idea that you are excited to share, The way they think is, oh my God, what does this mean to what we already have in flight and to the existing team and the existing clients? And how is this going to throw everything off? That's what they're wired to think. That's what you hired them to think. So that's what they're going to be thinking. So what you're going to hear out of their mouth are things that probably are going to feel like they are saying it's not a good idea or you shouldn't move forward. And that's them processing what it means. It's not them actually objecting usually to your idea. It's them processing your idea. So here's how you shift that. If you're just in a place where you want to be excited and you want to explore possibility, know that they're naturally going to go there. So you need to change the tone for them. And you need to say, listen, I have this idea. I'm really excited about it. I don't want to go into solutioning. I don't want to think about impact. I don't want, like, you can go away and do your thing and look at what this might look like if we were to move forward with it. What I want to do right now is I just want to share the idea with you, and I want to spend a little bit of time and I want to brainstorm on a couple things, and I want to do it purely from a place of what's possible. Let's worry about what it would mean to actually implement it later. Let's just stay in a pure brainstorming and place of possibility right now. And that's how you set the tone. And on the flip side, for your right hand, sometimes they need to set the tone with you, or as you start to build this partnership where you understand each other really, really well. And if you have a rock star right hand, you probably naturally already do this with them. If you're struggling with your right hand, this might be something that will help, right? And sometimes you need to go into a place of practicality with them. I'm sure you probably don't love it. You might not love all the details. The last thing that you probably want to hear is all of the moving pieces and all the things that are going to be impacted. You probably want to just say, would you just make it happen? And there's a time and a place for that, but sometimes you do need to go into the details with that person because they need to process it out loud and they need you to understand the impact. And even if you don't care about the impact, even if you're like, whatever, this is the most important thing in the world to me, do whatever you got to do to make it happen. They are going to feel more comfortable if they feel like you understand the impact. And sometimes they're going to need you to hear it out, even if your answer does not change. And so that time is more of like a place of practicality instead of a place of possibility. That might be where you're going into a conversation with your right hand and it's like, okay, we've talked about what this is going to look like. You know, I'm really excited about it. You know, I want to make this happen. Now let's get into practically, what does this mean? And it might not be a conversation you want to have. Maybe it is, right? Every founder is wired differently, but a lot of founders I work with are more of the just make it happen variety, which is great. But be open to having that conversation with your right hand because it's what they need sometimes to have the confidence in the decisions to move things forward. Now, you might get a right hand who's willing to just run with it. I will just make things happen. That's just kind of me in general, is I will be off and running and I will be orchestrating and doing all the things. But I've worked with many, many people, especially people who aren't quite as seasoned and haven't been doing this for 30 years, right? They tend to need more of that validation. So if you've got someone more at like a strategic execution level, closer to the work, they're going to probably need validation. And that could come from you. It could come from someone else, but they're going to want to make sure that the things they're moving all around are the right things to be moving around. And if nothing else, they want to make sure that you know. So you will need to have different types of conversation with your right hand. What ends up happening more often is that people go into a single conversation from different frames, and the conversation is frustrating for everyone. You go in thinking you're in a place of possibility and brainstorming. They go in thinking they're in a place of practicality and trying to figure out how to make it happen. You're both speaking different languages, and therefore you don't get very far. You leave feeling deflated and like, what the hell? I just wanted to talk about my idea. And they leave feeling like they have no idea the impact this is actually going to have. Why are we changing things again? And so it ends up not being a positive interaction. So if you just follow that advice where you put in place some framing around your conversation, so you know if you're in a possibility conversation or if you know you're in a practicality conversation, that can make such a big difference with your right hand. And if you are in a place where you're trying to find a right hand, or you know that you need the next level right hand and you aren't quite sure where to go, I'm happy to help. I did open up a couple spots. So if I feel like the right person for you to be your right hand, let's talk. You could put time on my calendar at leanoutmethod.com/consult. But I'm also happy to help you understand what you're looking for in a right-hand person. And with my new business, Strategic Ops Institute, I'm actually training, mentoring, and certifying. And with my new business, Strategic Ops Institute, I'm actually training, mentoring, and certifying right hands. I'm helping them understand how to effectively partner with their founder while at the same time helping them understand how to strategically scale your business. So whether they are at that strategic execution level, which is what I call the EPM, the entrepreneurial project manager, or whether they're at that pure strategy level up there, really helping you bring your vision to life and getting you out of the day-to-day. That's what I call the CSOO, the Chief Strategy and Operating Officer. I'm providing mentorship and training and certification for them. So if you have someone on your team today that you're like, boy, I would love for them to go through that training, you absolutely can send them through. Or if you're like, I want someone when they graduate her certification, like, how do I get one of those people after she's already trained them and certified them? That's going to be coming really soon as we wrap up some of our cohorts. So in either case, if you need support with your right hand, I'd love to have a conversation. Let's chat. Go to leanoutmethod.com/consult. But I hope that this was really valuable and helps you think through all of the relationships that you have around you, not just with your right hand, and how much they impact how you show up in your business and how you feel about your business, but especially as you look at your right hand, making sure you've got the right person at the right level, making sure that you've got the person who can go back and forth with you. You don't want a person who so lives in the practical that they cannot ever meet you in the place of possibility, because that's going to be a really frustrating relationship. And that person on your team can be a really valuable person, but they're not your right hand. That person is more somebody who's part of the team, who's practically making things happen. Your right hand needs to have a blend of possibility and practicality. So make sure as you're finding someone, as you're looking for someone, you've got that person who can go into the vision with you, who can be as excited about that vision as you, not just excited about implementing on the vision, but excited about the vision itself. That's what you want. And then you want someone who is also capable of either implementing on it if they're closer to an execution level, or orchestrating and arranging everything that's needed to bring it to life if they're at more of a strategy level. I'll definitely be talking a bit more about right-hand relationships and making sure that you've got the right ops in place to be able to scale your business as we go forward. And as I'm gearing up to launch Strategic Ops Institute, which I'm so excited about. So stay tuned, more to come. But for now, let's meet and chat. If you need any support or have any questions about your right-hand person, I would love those conversations so much. And especially let's chat if you are looking for a right hand at that strategy level and think that I might be the right person to come in and help you bring your incredible vision to life. leanoutmethod.com/consult. And I will see you again next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you have not yet taken our scalability assessment, I invite you to head to leanoutmethod.com/assessment and take our interactive assessment that's going to help you look at how simple, how sustainable, and how scalable your business currently is. It includes personalized recommendations of where to focus next to get your time back, to increase your impact, increase your profits, and ultimately step into your rich, fulfilled life. And finally, we'd love to see you inside our signature program, Simplify to Scale. You can head to leanoutmethod.com/ops to find all of the details on how we can help you uplevel your operations and get out of the day-to-day of your business.